guys, gosh, I look like a bag of shite today. I tell you, I do. My ME and my fibromyalgia has been absolutely horrendous today, so I have had PJ day today. I've been having a little bit of a tidy up in one of my dressing table drawers, and I came across this, and it's a coffee jar, yes, an empty one. And it filled me with absolute dread when I saw it. It just brought back so many memories. And you think, well, how the hell can a coffee jar have anything to do with domestic violence, mental abuse, control? Plenty is the answer to that. For me, this just makes me feel sick when I see it. It really does. It, to me, signifies an awful lot that's gone on. About control of what he did to me, and his power about making sure that he had control over everything, including my money. I hate it. It just makes me feel sick. Okay, so where do I start with this? Right. I basically, to start off with, when me and him were together, I had a relative that passed away. I had my gran pass, and when we were seeing each other, he actually was a part of my life then, and he seemed like a great guy. I felt like it was fine for him around money and everything to talk. I didn't have any qualm about him knowing stuff. I had a relative who passed away, and I was due to get some money. I'm not talking a mass fortune, a life-changing sum of money, but it was just a nice little nest egg, if you like. A couple of thousand was due to come my way. And yeah, you could, now looking back on it, I can imagine he was spending in his head. Oh yeah, in his head he was mentally spending everything. When this money had gone in, I mean, my mum made the mistake of talking to me about it with him around, but then you wouldn't have thought that he was mentally doing anything, you know. And yeah, he was. I mean, he would literally, when I was going to cash machines, he would always be standing behind me, and I didn't always like that because I'd feel like he was looking over my shoulder when I was going to the cash machine and putting my PIN number in and stuff. And there were times I didn't like it, but I never said anything because it'd just create an atmosphere, an argument, and I think, am I triggering, is something off here? And you know, I hated it, but I just went along with it. And anyway, there were times where he would go onto my laptop, and I had a couple of eBay accounts, and he asked me, he says, oh, I haven't got an eBay account. Can I just look on yours? And I'd be like, yeah, okay, no problem. And eventually it got to the point of, oh, this is always logging me out. What's your password? Big mistake. But yeah, he did. I used to write the password down for him. Yes, I know, silly, but hey, you go very trustingly with these people. And so he knew the numbers. I would keep him then logged in, and he used to just look. That's how it started. Then it went through a phase then after that of, can I sell some items on this? And then he'd put the numbers and things on his phone, but he used to smash a few phones of his up, so of course it would be constantly me having to tell him passwords and stuff. But yeah, he sold stuff. He used to sell things through the laptop. And of course, because it was my PayPal account that it was being paid into, I'd have to draw the money out, and then it would be a case of, because it was such a faff, can you keep me signed in on your PayPal? And then, of course, it would be like, yeah, okay. And then eventually I twigged that he would be buying stuff. It'd be, oh, I just pressed buy it now on something. You've bought something for your lads, you've bought something for yourself. I want something for me. And then he'd make me feel guilty for buying things myself for me that I needed, or for my son that he needed. And so, yeah, he used to make me feel very, very guilty for spending money on myself. And sometimes they'd be things like mobility aids, things that I needed to help me around the house and on day-to-day living. And I hated that, how he'd make me feel guilty and very small. But, hey, that's all part of the control side of things. But yeah, it was very often that money would be taken from my bank account via PayPal constantly. Money would go in, he'd be then spending like nobody's business. Before I knew it, the money had gone. And then I had another relative pass away and the money went in, same story. He helped spend it very, very quickly. If I bought anything for myself, of course, there was hell to pay. I was made to feel guilty for spending items on myself. And I was very careful and very self-conscious of things that I bought. I bought a couple of mobility scooters, things for me to make my quality of life better. And he begrudged me of that. He used to make me feel so guilty for buying things for me. I mean, I'm not talking like fancy, luxurious items. I'm talking about things to help make my quality of life just that little bit more simpler. Anyway, so it came to the point of where I'd drawn some money out and I thought nothing of it. I put it in this to start with. I put £100 in here. This is like a little fancy biscuit jar type thing that was knocking around in my grand's house, and I really liked this, and I asked my mum if I could have it and she said yes. So I had in here £100 in notes, and yeah, I got a fish tank out of a little bit of that, but the rest of it, there was £150 in here to start with. And then I bought my fish tank, so there was £100 sitting in this, and I had it in there. It was for rainy day purposes because I live out in a village, and I decided to have it in there so if I ever needed this money to go shopping, to pay for a bill, to do something, it was there. It was there, and it felt good to have this money sitting there. And then one day I went just to go, I was cleaning the shelf, and I opened the barrel up and it was empty. And then he was like, yeah. He says, oh, I found this money in there, and it was just sitting there. It'd been sitting there for ages. So I decided to spend it. And so he went and took himself to the pub. He spent it on beer. And I went nuts, and I said, this was not yours to spend. This was rainy day money. It was my money. It wasn't yours. And then, of course, he'd make me feel guilty for bringing that up. And then I never put any more in this jar ever again. I didn't. And then it got to the point of like where even I've got little jars now dotted around here, there and everywhere. One's for holiday, one's for the cats, one's for rainy day, and then I've got two that have got change in. One's got coppers in, one's a big whiskey barrel bottle that's got loads of change in it. The other one has got notes in for when I've got my cleaner coming, or now my gardener that comes, or anybody else that I need doing a job for me around the house. So yeah, I've got things which is really, really a big thing for me, and it's like I can now leave my purse lying around. I couldn't do that with him when he was around. My purse This is a different one to one I had, but yeah. I have to take this upstairs to bed with me when he was here. And I hated that. I felt like I had to take my purse, my bag, everything upstairs with me. I had to hide things. Why should you have to hide things in your own home? You know, why? For me, I had to hide notes in my purse, and I got used to that after a while, because the one section that's got all your change in and you can put your notes in folded up small, I used to put my notes in there. And then it got to the point of like where I'd wake up, because with my fibromyalgia and my ME, I struggle sometimes with waking up, and I'd be very, very lethargic. So yeah, sometimes on a Sunday I'd wake up and he'd be gone, my car would be gone, and when I come and looked in my purse, my money would be gone. Sometimes I had 40 something pounds in my purse, and all that would be gone. He'd take the lot, and what he would do was he'd go to the shop, he'd go to Aldi, he'd go and buy some drinks, and then he'd come back and put the change in, and I would have about £3 something change, if that. That money was there in my purse for gas and electric top-ups. It would be there for emergency, if I needed food, if I needed something for the cats, I needed to pay a bill. You know, it was not his to take. That is the point, you know. And then it got to the point, because if I said anything, it was then triggering something else off, so then he'd go into a rage. It then would be my fault for creating an atmosphere, and you know, for putting him in a bad mood. So I started hiding notes. I'd have to fold them down really as thin as I could, making a serious crease, and I'd have to fold them up and put them behind, say, my bank card, or one of my payment cards for the gas, electric, water, whatever. I'd have to do that. I'd have to hide things all over the place. I even had, this is where this comes in. I had I've still got it, my 1950s dresser that's got a mirror on, and you know, lots and lots of drawers. Very old, very beautiful. And I've got jumpers in the drawers, in the deep drawers, and at the bottom of the drawer was one of these. And what I'd have to do is I would have to wrap one of my jumpers around this to hide it. Why would you have to hide a jar in your bedroom, in your own home? Basically to stop the rattling of the jar, because as you open the drawer, else it's rattling around and making a sound, so then it's giving the game away. And I'd have to open the drawers really, really slowly, really quietly, walking on eggshells sort of thing. I'd put the odd fiver in, and I was pretty impressed with myself when I had like £50 worth of money saved. You guarantee that he would always make a comment of needing money for something, and I'll pay you back, I'll sort it, I promise, I'll pay you back. And if I didn't, then he'd go into one of these rages. So of course, bit by bit, the 50 suddenly disappeared. But that's how it was. And you know, for me, it was hard, and eventually I had to put money aside bit by bit and build it up, and I was really chuffed with myself to have savings put aside for when we went on holiday. But it's hard when you're having to walk on eggshells around somebody like that. Frightened you're going to trigger them off, frightened you're going to say something and cause an argument, even though the argument isn't about you, it's about them, and taking control of you and your life and your money. So, you know, guys, being free has given me a relief of no money to be hiding away. Now I can leave my bag downstairs, my purse can be lying around on the sofa. I don't feel that I'm going to get robbed of anything. So it's definitely giving me that breather. So there we go. There's the story behind the coffee jar. Bye for now, guys.